David, the king of Israel, was a man of war. He had faced giants and conquered enemies. Yet, in the quiet of his palace, a different battle raged within him.
I remember the promise I made long ago to my dear friend Jonathan.
This promise was forged in a time of deep friendship, a bond unbreakable even in the face of adversity. Jonathan, the son of King Saul, had loved David like a brother. He had defended him, protected him, and stood by him when danger lurked. Jonathan's love for David was selfless and true. He knew David was destined for greatness, even when it meant his own family's throne was at stake. Jonathan had made David swear an oath. He asked David to show kindness to his family even when he was gone.
I never forgot this promise. It is a sacred vow etched upon my heart.
David's determination to find Jonathan's descendants stemmed from this profound sense of loyalty and love. In the distant land of Lo-debar, far from the grandeur of King David's palace, lived a man named Mephibosheth. He was the son of Jonathan, the grandson of King Saul. Mephibosheth bore the weight of his family's history. His grandfather, King Saul, had been a troubled king, consumed by jealousy and insecurity.
I have known little but hardship in my life.
At the tender age of 5, tragedy struck. News arrived of a devastating battle where both his father, Jonathan, and his grandfather, King Saul, had been killed. In the chaos that ensued, Mephibosheth's nurse, fearing for the young boy's life, fled with him. But in her haste and terror, she stumbled, and Mephibosheth fell, crippling him for life. He grew up in Lo-debar, a place of desolation and obscurity.
I live a simple life, far removed from the intrigues of the court.
Despite his royal blood, Mephibosheth lived in the shadows, a forgotten prince, his life a stark reminder of the fallen fortunes of his family. David's desire to honor his promise to Jonathan burned brightly. He summoned Ziba, a former servant of Saul's household.
Is there anyone left of Saul's family?
There is Jonathan's son, living a humble life in Lo-debar.
David's heart was moved with compassion. He immediately ordered his servants to bring Mephibosheth to Jerusalem.
Don't be afraid, I will show you kindness for the sake of your father, Jonathan.
David saw beyond Mephibosheth's limitations. He saw the heart of a man who had known suffering and loss.
Could this be a turning point in my life? Could the king offer me something more than the quiet existence I have always known?
As he traveled to Jerusalem, Mephibosheth carried with him a mix of apprehension and anticipation. When Mephibosheth arrived at the palace, he was overcome with awe. He prostrated himself before David, the king who held his fate in his hands.
Don't be afraid. I will surely show you kindness for the sake of your father, Jonathan.
David's words were not empty platitudes. They were a promise, a covenant of care and protection.
I will restore to you all the land that belonged to your grandfather Saul, and you will always eat at my table.
This was an invitation into the very heart of David's kingdom, a place of honor and belonging.
To be given back my grandfather's land is an unimaginable blessing. But to be invited to dine at the king's table, to share meals with the most powerful man in Israel, is an honor beyond my wildest dreams.
It was a symbol of acceptance, a sign that he was no longer an outcast, but a welcomed guest. David's actions were a testament to the power of kindness to heal old wounds and mend broken spirits. He was demonstrating that true compassion went beyond words. It required action, a willingness to share not just one's resources, but also one's life and table with those who had been marginalized and forgotten.
Tears welled up in Mephibosheth's eyes. "What is your servant," he stammered, "that you should look upon such a dead dog as I am?"
His words were those of utter humility. He had lived so long in the shadows, believing himself unworthy of notice. Mephibosheth couldn't comprehend the depth of David's kindness.
David's compassion had a transformative effect on Mephibosheth. It lifted him from the depths of despair and gave him a renewed sense of worth.
Mephibosheth's life was forever changed by David's act of grace. He moved from Lo-debar, the place of his exile, to Jerusalem, the city of David.
Mephibosheth's story is a powerful reminder that even in the darkest of times, hope can bloom.
David's compassion became a catalyst for Mephibosheth's restoration. It was a tangible expression of God's love, a love that sought out the lost and offered them a place of belonging. Mephibosheth was now a welcomed guest at the king's table, a living testament to the power of kindness to redeem and restore.
It teaches us that even when we feel unworthy, God's love can reach down and lift us up, transforming our lives in ways we could never imagine.
In the story of David and Mephibosheth, we see a glimpse of God's own heart. David's unwavering commitment to his promise to Jonathan reflects God's faithfulness to his covenants. Just as David sought out Mephibosheth, God seeks us out, even in our brokenness and self-imposed exile. He desires to lavish his love upon us, to welcome us to his table, to restore to us all that has been lost. Mephibosheth's physical disability serves as a powerful metaphor for the spiritual brokenness we all carry. We are all, in a sense, like Mephibosheth, limping through life, carrying the weight of our past mistakes and the limitations of our human nature. Yet God, in his infinite mercy, sees beyond our imperfections. He sees the potential for wholeness and restoration in each one of us. David's extravagant generosity in restoring Saul's land to Mephibosheth mirrors God's boundless grace. The story of David and Mephibosheth is not just a heartwarming tale of human kindness. It is a profound reflection of God's heart for the lost, the broken, and the forgotten. The story of David and Mephibosheth is a timeless call to action, urging us to live out the legacy of kindness. We are all invited to be agents of God's grace and mercy. We may not all be kings, but we can all choose to emulate David's heart. We can look beyond outward appearances and see the inherent worth in every human being. We can choose to be bridge builders, extending a hand of friendship and support. Section 8. The power of compassion. Small acts, big impact. We may be tempted to think that our acts of kindness are insignificant, mere drops in the ocean of need that surrounds us. Yet the story of David and Mephibosheth reminds us that even the smallest acts of compassion can have a ripple effect, transforming lives and inspiring others to do the same. Never underestimate the power of a smile, a word of encouragement, or a simple act of service. These small gestures can brighten someone's day, give them hope, and remind them that they are not alone. Kindness has a way of multiplying. When we choose to act with compassion, we not only impact the lives of those we touch directly, but we also inspire others to pay it forward, creating a chain reaction of love and goodwill. Choose to be a beacon of hope in a world that often feels dark and divided. Let your light shine brightly, illuminating the path for others to follow. Section 9. Breaking down barriers, embracing the vulnerable. The story of David and Mephibosheth challenges us to confront the barriers that prevent us from fully embracing those who are different from us, those who have been marginalized, forgotten, or excluded. These barriers may be physical, emotional, social, or economic. They may be rooted in fear, prejudice, or simply a lack of awareness. Whatever their form, we are called to tear down these walls of separation and build bridges of understanding and compassion. This requires intentional effort on our part. It means stepping outside our comfort zones, challenging our own assumptions, and making a conscious choice to see the world through the eyes of those who are different from us. It means opening our hearts and our homes to those who have been pushed to the margins, welcoming them into our lives and our communities. When we choose to embrace the vulnerable, we not only demonstrate God's love to them, but we also enrich our own lives immeasurably. We discover the beauty of diversity, the strength of unity, and the transformative power of love that knows no bounds. Section 10. Restoring dignity, seeing the image of God. At the heart of David's compassion for Mephibosheth was a profound recognition of his inherent worth and dignity as a human being created in the image of God. David didn't see Mephibosheth as a burden, a charity case, or a reminder of a painful past. He saw him as a fellow human being deserving of love, respect, and a place at the table. We are all created in the image of God, regardless of our physical abilities, our social status, our past mistakes, or our present circumstances. When we lose sight of this fundamental truth, we open the door to prejudice, discrimination, and injustice. We are called to be agents of restoration, to see the image of God reflected in every human being we encounter, and to treat them accordingly. This means speaking up for those who are voiceless, defending the rights of those who are marginalized, and working tirelessly to create a more just and compassionate world for all. It means recognizing that every human life has value and purpose, and that we all have a role to play in creating a society where everyone feels valued, respected, and empowered to reach their full potential. Kindness that changes the world. The story of David and Mephibosheth is a powerful reminder that kindness has a ripple effect. David's act of compassion transformed Mephibosheth's life and sent shockwaves of grace throughout the kingdom. It challenged the attitudes of the day, showing true strength in humility and compassion. David's legacy inspires us today, reminding us we can make a difference. We can choose to be part of the solution, living lives marked by compassion and justice. Be the change we wish to see, one act of kindness at a time.